Ever wonder why we behave the way we do? Dive into the fascinating world of psychology with me. Today we're delving into 15 mind-blowing psychological facts that might just change the way you see yourself and others. From the mysteries of punctuation in text messages to the deeper understanding of human behavior, get ready for a wild ride through the science of the mind and behavior. Welcome to the journey where every fact unlocks a new dimension of understanding. Let's get started. Number 15, if we think about a backup plan, it could mess up our main plan. Scientists from the University of Pennsylvania looked at how people did on a task. They found that those who had a backup plan did worse than those who didn't. They also saw that when people knew they had other choices, they felt less motivated. This is tied to something called expectancy theory made by Victor H. Broom in 1964. It basically says that how much you want to do something depends on if you think you'll succeed. Having a backup plan suggests you might not succeed the first time. Researchers say it's smart to think ahead, but don't get too stuck on the details. You might accidentally mess up your chance of success. Number 14, yawning when someone else yawns might actually bring us closer together. Picture this. It's early in the day, you're all set to tackle your tasks. You're in a meeting, surrounded by your coworkers, when suddenly one of them lets out a big, loud yawn. And guess what? You find yourself yawning too, even though you're not sleepy at all. That's called a response yawn. Scientists have different ideas about why this happens, but one of the main theories is that it shows we care about how others feel, kind of like saying, "I feel you, buddy." That's why little kids who haven't quite figured out empathy yet, or people on the autism spectrum, might not catch yawns as easily. Number 13, we care more about helping one person than dealing with big problems. A study in the University of Pennsylvania looked at how people donate money based on what they hear. One group saw a hungry girl, another group heard a big number of people dying of hunger, and a third group learned about both. The group that only heard about the big number donated the least, followed by the group that heard about both. The group that heard about the little girl donated twice as much as the big number group. Psychologists say this happens because if a problem feels too huge, we feel like our efforts won't matter. Helping one hungry girl feels more doable than trying to end hunger worldwide. Number 12, remembering the start and finish of stuff is way easier than the middle parts. Think about when you go shopping and forget your list. You can usually remember stuff at the start and end of it. The middle? Not so clear. Scientists did a study and found this is totally a thing. They call it the serial position effect. That's why you might remember how your boss's talk ended, but the middle part? Kind of a blur. So if you forget things in the middle, don't worry, it's pretty normal. Yep, that's a deal. So when you wake up and before you go to bed, think about a few things that make you happy. This helps you stay balanced. Our brains have this thing called a negativity bias, which means we tend to focus more on the bad stuff than the good. But don't sweat it. There's no point in dwelling on the things that bring you down. Instead, aim for a ratio of 5 good things to every one bad thing in your life. Who knows, you might just attract something amazing. Number 10, food seems yummier when someone else cooks it. Think about when your mom makes dinner. It just tastes so good, right? Well, it turns out it's not just your cooking skills. Even if someone else who knows their way around the kitchen makes your meal, it somehow tastes better. Scientists say it's because when you make your own food, by the time it's ready to eat, you're not as excited about it anymore. So even though you put effort into making it, you end up enjoying it less. Weird, huh? Number 9, we'd rather know that something's bad is happening than not knowing. Remember that feeling when someone says, "We need to talk." Your mind starts racing with all the worst case scenarios, right? Like if it's your partner, you might think you're gonna break up with you. Or if it's your boss, maybe you're getting fired. Turns out scientists say we'd rather know the bad news up front than deal with uncertainty. When we don't know what's coming, our brains work overtime trying to guess what might happen next, whether it's good or bad. Number 8, when a rule feels too strict, we often want to break it even more. In psychology, this is called reactance. It means when we feel like we're losing our freedom, we rebel to get it back. Think about teenagers. When they're grounded, they might not just sneak out, but they could also start doing rather risky stuff to show they're still in charge. Number 8, there is a reason why we want to squeeze cute things. Ever notice how you want to hug and cuddle adorable puppies and babies? Turns out that's totally normal. It's called cute aggression. Scientists say it's like a tiny burst of energy that helps us handle all the warm fuzzies we get from cute things, so we don't accidentally squish them with too much love. Number 6, sometimes we tend to see things in a way that fits what we already think. This is called confirmation bias. It's why folks with specific political ideas like certain news channels more, and let's face it, convincing Uncle Fred to see things differently. Nearly impossible. This bias not only makes us look for info that matches our beliefs, but also makes us push away anything that doesn't. Number 5, you're hardwired to adore the tunes you rocked out to in high school the most. Great music makes your brain release happy chemicals like dopamine. Remember yelling? This song is awesome. At parties, those high school days when everything seemed super important, especially between ages 12 to 22. Music was a big deal back then. Research reveals we form strong bonds with the music from our teenage years even more than we do as grown-ups, no matter how much time passes. Number 4, memories are kind of like pictures put together rather than exact snapshots. False memories are things you remember, but they're not entirely true. For instance, thinking you turned on the dishwasher before leaving for work when you didn't. Our brains can sometimes make mistakes by filling in missing details based on a general idea of what occurred. Number 3, we like to see faces even in things that aren't alive. Pareidolia is when we see clear images like faces in patterns that are random or not clear. An example is seeing a face in the moon. Scientists say it's because recognizing faces is super important for us as social beings. We'd rather imagine a face where there isn't one than miss a real face. Number 2, when we expect a lot from people, they often do better. But if we don't expect much, they might not improve much. The Pygmalion effect shows that when teachers were told certain students were super smart, those students did really well. It turns out the teachers' belief in their potential helped them succeed. Number 1, our brains don't really care much about long-term deadlines. Sure, you could start the big project for work or school now, but why bother? You have plenty of time, right? But before you know it, all the time has slipped away and suddenly you're rushing to finish everything in just a few days. It's like those quick, easy tasks that aren't really that important suddenly become super appealing. They give you that instant satisfaction of getting things done quickly. Our brains just find it easier to deal with deadlines that are closer, like ones that are measured in days rather than months or years. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can make more. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. And be sure to check out our other videos too. Thanks for watching!